Hello, guys, and welcome back to week 3 of Valence League. I'm so sorry about the interruption. We did have a bit of a technical issue there, which meant you ended up missing out on a banger of the,
Mm.
the last quarter of that game there. Um, Area 69 did end up picking out the first win of our series today. I really wish you could have seen that the fights were fantastic, and Big Booby Bob had an outstanding performance in Amumu in game 1.
Yeah, just an absolute monster. And I think the important part to note from the end of that game, what people didn't see, was that what was the key theme was that Garlic Bread Mafia was trying to make proactive plays, trying to make plays across the map, and Area 69 was so quick at punishing. The instant they saw that realm walk come out, Destiny would be used somewhere else on the map. Destiny would come through, pick someone off, and it just happened over and over again. What you guys didn't get to see was that dragon came through. It was third dragon. They then found a pick in the enemy jungle, and it pretty much just snowballed from there. They went pick after pick after pick. You've seen it before. This rapid fire TF, as soon as he gets rolling, can just stun people permanently and constantly.
Yeah, and honestly, shout outs to Helby and Big Booby Bob for being on the map in the right spot so consistently. Because a lot of the aggressive plays that we saw with that Stan United comboed with the Hecarim, trying to get off, for example, the diving bot side, right? We that Destiny was used at perfect time, and Big Booby Bob was already on his bot side clear, moving down to respond to that. So he ended up turning that, that 3-for-1 into a 3-for-4. I think, yeah, especially shout outs to Big Booby Bob in general. His performance game 1 was really, really good, and he was the standout for their
Mm.
team.
And I will say the one thing that kind of gives you hope for Garlic Bread Mafia at least is they were the team initiating every play.
Hmm.
While I don't think they needed to,
Yep.
it's really easy for the side of Area 69 because they were playing reactively. A dive happens, bot, okay, we'll ult top. It's really easy when you see the enemy making plays because it becomes super obvious what play you need to make. Either
Yep.
we react with our globals or we go to the other side of the map. Whereas playing proactively is so much more difficult. And if this Garlic Bread Mafia side picks a more early aggressive comp, I can definitely see them snowballing the game better and being able to use that productivity to then just make the game go in their favor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it felt like their draft didn't quite align with what their goals were because we saw some stuff like the Shen and the Hecarim is a fantastic combo that you want to see from that kind of comp. But the Braum, Ezreal, and the Rise really
Mm,
limit how aggressively they can play because you are funneling all your early pressure just through the Hecarim and maybe that Braum pressure in terms of early skirmishing. Other than that, your damage is really limited and you're waiting on these items. And because they did play so aggressively in the early, Destiny comes out. We see Big Booby Bob already had a lead as well because of that little problem with the first couple of scuttles. So, yeah, already in a position to find a lead, and they kept pushing it by doing that
mm,
counter engage or finding stuff on the other side of the map. And I think honestly, shout outs to the vision as well. I think Shokugeki and Bard Mid
yeah,
were both on fantastic vision control most of the game. And I was going to mention it a couple of times, but it was like it wasn't through lack of vision that these plays were being made. It was because vision
yeah,
kept getting set down and cleared
yeah.
repeatedly over and over again. Fantastic choices for I mean, fantastic pathing from Shogukeki and Bard Mid there to relieve some of that pressure for the team.
And I think it's always really difficult to find really good vision lines
Hmm.
when you're playing against globals because they can negate a lot of that vision. Shen doesn't need to walk down to Brome. He can literally walk back to his turret out of vision and ult anywhere he wants to. So I think it's still really well played from both teams to be able to still find decent vision control and have good knowledge of the map, despite the fact that you're playing into so many globals on these teams.
Yeah, I think Bard Mid definitely struggled to handle some of that movement that Garlic Bread Mafia, oh sorry, Area 69 were able to find. But hopefully we're going to be heading into games soon, guys. I'm excited to see what adaptations they have because the Amumu definitely
Oh
looks like
yeah.
a big issue that game.
Yeah, definitely needs to be gone. That Amumu should not be played. I think the TF as well was a big problem, not only just because of the destiny and how the defensive usage of it was able to give them so much on the map, also just because of the fact that late game it becomes really obvious who to target. I feel like the biggest problem in these plat leagues is people just there's so much chaos. Everyone's fighting different people. They're all fighting their own one versus ones. Whereas when you have a TF, you go, okay, gold card target is this. We kill that person. Then our gold card, the next target, it's that. We kill that person. And it just goes over and over again like that. And I think this Silas ban away means that this TF needs to be banned because it's got so many. It doesn't, that difficulty of that Silas matchup doesn't have to be worried about anymore.
Yeah, and we'll see maybe if one of those earlier mid bands like the Oriana, the Xerath, maybe they'll get swapped out for that TF, try and put them in one of his more signature champions to guide them towards a certain comp. Gonna see the Zidian taken away from Shokugeki as again. Signature pick for this player, as well as the Jarvan being taken away, which we noted in the first game, how strong that pick is looking right now.
It's
As well
it's
as
going to
that,
be a
just
salty
shot
run
fire
back.
bans. We're seeing salty run back happening right before our eyes. The Twitch gets taken away from Serenity as well. We mentioned it. Graves banned as well. It's the run back almost exactly. And, big thing to know, Area 69 have blue side again, which almost everybody can agree. There's the one adaptation.
Okay.
The Amumi gets taken away. That first pick gets taken away. So what would they put first pick instead? The Kane gets picked.
Strange. Especially to first pick the Kane, it's a champion that it obviously has that adaptation because of the passive. You can go blue Kane or red Kane. You can go versus tanks versus you can go assassin as well. But I think picking it so early means that the enemy can pick a jungle like Lee Sin, like Xin Zhao, that can be aggressive early, that can really punish you and snowball the game. Ziggs being picked up as well, really strong flex, and paired with something like a Trundle. Trundle's another one of those picks where it can find these one versus one fights early and absolutely dominate the Kane before he can get online.
And that's the big thing with Trundle is he's such a good option into some of these bruises because of that percentage HP damage. It means
Mhm.
that Atomic Viper's drafted kind of he's a little bit in a right here because he wants to draft into blue side now or blue Kane if he can. But in return, looks like Nautilus gets picked as well as Tristana. So we're seeing the Trist again for Serenity, but rotation for the Nautilus instead for Shokugeki.
And I like this better. Nautilus, definitely a better pick into that Braum than the Thresh is. And the Lantern, we didn't really see great usage out of it that game. I don't think
Hmm.
that's the fault of Shokugeki. I think most of those fights they were already winning. They didn't really need
Hmm.
to worry about the Lantern. But I think having that Nautilus gives you so much more pressure in fights. But Camille picked up super safe blind, super good matchups, especially with the current top lane meta. So we'll have to see what that counter is from Atomic Viper.
Yeah, I think the big thing, right, is that the Poppy's probably going to go. But on top of that, this is kind of a classic red side R3 pick. You pick your solo lane and then you double ban into it.
Mm,
They do take away the tier from
I
Helby,
like
though. I
that.
think,
Yeah.
honestly, if Atomic Vipers played Poppy even once, you want to be taking this matchup away. The champion is so good right now.
And it's just super strong in these kind of front to back team fights, which this Area 69 team has been looking to play. Yes, in that team comp, they wanted to play a bit more about sideways, but in the traditional sense, they like playing that 5 versus 5. It's what teams do. It becomes super easy. Let's just group, let's just fight, let's see what happens there. And LeBlanc taken away from General Demo. I think that's smart knowing Helby's mid lane pool. This to me says that they're trying to look towards that Xerath that's not banned away at the moment.
Yeah, I think also LeBlanc does a fantastic job of dealing with Nautilus and Kane. Really easy to avoid most or all of their CC, and they also take away the Corki, so no bans put towards that top side, even with the the Camille being picked. I do find that quite interesting. Excited to see what adaptation we have from the rest of the team to deal with the Camille. But R4, they looks like they're going to be picking. Oh, we might see some
Okay.
spice going on.
Okay. Okay. I don't know about this one. This is going to be a bit interesting if that pick comes through.
Okay, I can talk about Camille Mid though, because this pick genuinely super underrated if they do decide to do it. So it looks like the Trundle will be locked into that top lane. They pick the Skarner jungle and they're gonna keep the Camille Mid, I think. And Camille Mid, one of these picks that does really well into a lot of control mages, has a lot of early pressure with that hook shot and with her early damage and the shielding. Obviously, the biggest issue with that is she is a little bit vulnerable to some medium range ranged matchups, and I want to see what Area 69's adaptation is to this because they lock in the Urgot for that for I think they think it's the Camille matchup. They might be a little bit confused as to who's going where yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that one. And I think what I will say is one thing that we've kind of forgot to mention at the moment is Trundle support.
Support.
It's
Yeah.
been a pick that's been played, and it
Hmm.
is really good into Nautilus. You can negate his hook, you can negate a lot of his engage, and he becomes so squishy. You wait for that aftershock to proc when he uses the ultimate, instantly ult him after that. And Nautilus isn't one of those champs that's super tanky. He's actually
Hmm.
quite squishy for a frontline support. And I think this Oriana pickup from Area 69 is really good. It rounds off their team comp super well. They once again have a really clear identity of what they want to do.
But a counter pick coming in, the Syndra into the Orianna. People have seen this matchup a million times. A lot of pressure on Demo to find a lot of that level 6 pressure to find that first item pressure into the Ori before she gets outscaled. So we're seeing once again different goals from each comp.
And I'll say this in terms of that Syndra pick. I spoke to Demo earlier, and he said to me that he wants to he kind of has a knowledge of people that know him, that he's the mid laner that likes to farm up, that likes to play for scaling, that kind of sits back and gets to that late game. And I think this Syndra pickup is him trying to shed that. He's trying to say, okay, I can play aggressive, I can win lane, I can absolutely dumpster this Orianna as Syndra, and I like to see that kind of confidence coming out from this kind of player.
Well, this is a signature counterpick to Orianna as well, so I'm really excited to see what Demo can do with this champion. But alongside with that pick, what we're seeing now is a very clear kind of comp because this is very pick focused, right? We're
Mm.
seeing General Bread Mafia putting all their eggs in one basket and going, okay, we play through Skarner ulti, we play through Syndra stun and Camille hookshot, and we're going to kill an individual target really quickly. And to be honest, I think it's a pretty good goal looking at what they're playing against because Camille does a fantastic job of dealing with Trist. Syndra has a fantastic job of dealing with the Orianna, and the Ziggs and the Camille combined have a fantastic job of dealing with the Kane.
And you have such good burst that these fights can absolutely end before they even start. Like you said, that pick potential is so good, and you might think, oh, well, Urgot's quite tanky. Not with a Trundle, he isn't. As soon as that Trundle comes in, as soon as that ultimate comes out, all of a sudden these stats are taken away. The Ziggs and Syndra are going to be able to do so much damage with a Camille to clean up the fights if they need to. Their only worry in these team fights needs to be their positioning, because if Helby places that ball really well, finds one good ultimate, the game is absolutely over for them.
Yeah, I mean, two immobile mages into Orianna is kind of a fever dream for that champion. We haven't really talked about top lane yet, but that whilst the Urgot will struggle a little bit into the Trundle, this is the kind of matchup where they want to find that pressure in early. Atomic Viper gotten quite a lot riding on him because these other two lanes might struggle a little bit in this early game, especially once Ziggs hits and those AP mages hit on items. But so Atomic Viper's got all that pressure to win this Camille lane early because he gets outscaled very hard.
And the pressure is really there, and Atomic Viper will have to see if they're a player that can handle it. First game, really good performance from that player, from what
Hmm.
might be, at least when you look at pure elo, the weak point for this team. Not
Yep.
that they have been, but when you look at it in terms of a context of their solo queue win rate, how they like to play, their points in terms of the VL scoring system, they're what you might say is the weak point of that team. And I'm really looking forward to how they can play this matchup if they can win this, because right now, when I look at this team come from Area 69, Kane's not really going to be able to do a whole lot in this game to impact these lanes.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna see how. I think I'm quite interested to see how Big Booby Bob decides to path because you have to make your choices depending on what form you want. If he wants to get that red cane, if he wants to be going into the Bruiser build, then the Trundle and the Skarner and the Camille, those are the targets he wants to be looking for. But if he wants to pressure in mid and mitigate some of the Syndra pressure, well then he has to be a little bit scared of, well, if I put too much time into mid lane, I might end up getting blue cane this.
Mm. And I think it's really important, like you said, with this pathing, about avoiding BMO early on, because
Hmm.
Kane is not a champion that is good at 1v1s, especially when they haven't got their form. And Skarner has base damage in buttloads.
Hmm.
And if that pillar is there,
The
the
Spire. Yeah.
spire is there, you can absolutely see BMO just running through, absolutely crushing Big Booby Bob. And if the laners aren't tuned into that and able to pressure their lanes and move towards these scuttle crabs early on, you can see Big Booby Bob in a massive deficit.
Yeah. BMO looking to fight, he desires to capture the Spire. Gonna see if he has the fire to fight the enemy team off in this early game as we're gonna be heading into game two of Garlic Bread Mafia and Area 69. So make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna have a little bit quick pause, a 10 seconds, but first
Mm.
of all, we're gonna have a little bit of a room check here.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I mean, I think
I
they're all
was about to
normal.
say,
It's very boring.
yeah, yeah. You okay, J Real? Like, I didn't realize you interrupted this cast real quick. but,
Somebody clip
but
that. I want
yeah,
I want to send that to J Reel.
yeah, exactly. You need to get the clip, send it to J Real. He'll absolutely love it. You're taking his job though, so maybe he won't be as happy as you think. You've still got
Anyway.
a lot to learn. See, the difference
Yeah,
is J Real sneaks them in. You made it super obvious what was happening.
I was, I thought of the rhyme like 15 seconds beforehand. I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I immediately mess it up. Anyway, quick pause here, guys, whilst we get everything lined up. Then we're gonna be heading into game 2. And there we are, Garlic Bread Mafia on red side versus Area 69, coming off a hot game 1. And I think something to know actually, Area 69 causing Garlic Bread Mafia's first loss in this
Hmm.
split so far.
Yeah, and it's an absolute huge turning point because you've got to think in terms of this garlic bread mafia team, they're going to have been so confident heading into this. They're like, okay, yeah, like we're undefeated at the moment. We've been absolutely smashing everyone, and it's not even been really close. But
Mm.
that was their first loss, and it came off the back of them not really being able to play their win conditions. Traditionally, we see them play more early game champions, more things that can pop off in this mid game once it gets a couple of items. That game, they needed to play a bit slower, and I hope in this game, now that they've changed that draft up, they can play towards that mid game again. I want to see what they can do.
Hmm. And we're gonna see a little bit of we're gonna see Camille and
Huh?
Ziggs both be a little bit aggressive here because they're
But,
gonna want to
but
capture
what?
those.
Are you
Oh, lane
serious?
swap. This is
But
not a good choice. I'm gonna
what?
warn everybody against this now. Top lane and mid lane both have damage reductions done to them. So when you want to do this kind of lane swap, number one, it can be answered really quickly with the TP. But on top of that, mid lane and top lane turret have special damage reduction built into them to mitigate this kind of lane swap. So whilst Serenity and Shokugeki trying to maybe get a little bit of a cheese into the Camille here, this is going to spell out really poorly for Atomic Viper because he's another champion that really struggles into heavy range. Ziggs will tear him apart and they will be getting plays here.
This I don't agree with this. This is something spicy. I mean, I guess you want to try it out in regular split when you're already a game up. You know, you've got the freedom to just sort of experiment a little bit, but we'll have to see if it works out
And
as they
looking for
do
a
reveal
direct hammer
themselves from the
won't move
bush.
up, but he's going to get chunked out pretty hard here. Ignite Burnt, Thunderin getting real low here. Doesn't have the flash available because he went for that Ignite. Gets the shield up again, but first blood given to Serenity there. And a big cheese ends up paying off because they get the first blood.
How screwed over does Atomic Viper get? That's what you need to ask yourself. Already in a rough matchup, and if you're putting them even further behind, Camille's going to absolutely be happy to say, okay, I'm going to be screwed over now, but my Ziggs is going to be getting plate spot, going to be snowballing the game, whereas Tristana isn't going to have much effectiveness. They seem to be basing though, so maybe this is some kind of weird cheese top lane first blood into swap back down to bot lane with an advantage.
And it does look like that's what it is because they're walking down to this bot lane here. Atomic Viper just hopefully looking to catch as much XP as possible, but they got the wave shove in on the second wave. So that means that top lane wave has bounced back and is even at the moment. So this is the perfect time for them to be looking for this. And you can see Ignitar and Bard mid have not found the appropriate punish on it. And because they've been trying to push so hard as well, Ignitar is below half mana.
And the only worry for this for me is yes, you got a bit more gold, but you're going to be losing that gold in waves, but also XP. You're going to be so far behind in XP, and it means your tempo for the
Oh,
next 2 minutes is shot. But this
look at
could
this
work out for
though.
them.
They're trying to find the pressure on Atomic Viper. Misses the E though. But look at this three-man coming in. Gets the root off into Bardman. He's just going to walk forward. At the same time, the hook is found onto Ignitar. Has the jump. So Tristana jumps forward. Not finding a lot of damage zone.
And they get
Oh,
neither.
because they mix targets. Bard mid might be walking away from this as well. And Atomic Viper wasting time chasing. The flash comes out and is going to end up missing a little bit of that CS in the top lane. But does have TP.
And now you've just, yeah, I understand it, but you've ended up making this top lane matchup for your Urgot really rough. It's
And
going to be so.
Ignitar
Carry on,
has
sorry.
TP here, so I
Hmm.
don't know why he isn't resetting. He's in a really precarious position at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to see Shukigeki and Serenity try and pressure him off and make him walk away. And you can see it here, has the flash available, but they don't end up burning it. But look at the amount of CS he's losing.
This is that kind of X factor. This is that kind of game where it's like you don't quite understand what's happening, so it's hard to adjust and find your way in the game. And I will say, if this Area 69 team can keep up this pressure, keep constantly finding these plays with this cheese start and build that gold lead even more, it can be the kind of thing where it just completely throws Garlic Bread Mafia off of their rhythm.
And whilst we've been talking so much about this roll swap, which to be fair has worked out in their favor, 7k gold, we're going to see a gank in the mid lane and early flash from Demo there. One thing to note was that, both Scuttles got their own collective Scuttle Crabs, but Big Booby Bob has been basically given his early game for free, wasn't contested at all. And now because Shukigeki has set up that vision, he's going to be able to safely farm his bot side as well. So he on reset, he's going to have the whatever pathing he wants.
I think as well, uh, That flash from Demo was a little bit weird.
Uh,
You're playing phase rush with into two slows. You
mhm.
don't really need to flash that because there's not the knock up there yet. There's not any hard CC. You can phase rush out, and you've already got TP. So I do think that's a bit weird, and it means that another gank timer can come through from Big Booby Bob or Shokugeki to punish them on that one. But like you said, Big Booby Bob has had a free early game first clear, which means now they're going to be able to go into their second set of camps with a slight advantage in this farming speed compared to BMO and scale up really well into this game.
Yeah, I think to be fair, don't doubt the Skarner clear in the early game, especially with that spy. He gets a load of free attack speed and should be able to clear his camps pretty quickly. Another thing to note is that because Ignitar's now and Bard Mid are now back in their lanes, that lane swap did cost Serenity a little bit of XP there. And you can see that level
Hmm.
lead for Ignitar so far. Alongside that, they've got the wave shove slowly pushing in. So this could set up for that first 5 minute Drake. I would hope to see that because that's the real goal for this game, right?
Yeah, the goal for them is spike super hard in this mid game. So getting that first dragon, snowballing that, and looking for that 25-minute soul is a really big point for them. Not even 25-minute, 20-minute soul is a really big key factor for them. And they do have the composition to do it. They've got the wave pro, like you said. And then there's not really any TPs on the side of in terms of this top lane from either team to be able to match that play. So you're looking to be really strong in this because Syndra's going to be playing super well into Oriana. Ziggs is going to be at a power spike point with the fact that they've pushed that wave, going to be able to be there first and set up those bombs. So it's just really nice rotations now if they do elect to go for that play.
Hmm. And another scary thing to mention when we're looking at this, and we're looking especially at mid game, is that Mercs feel almost mandatory into Garlic Bread Matthews comp. But Camille and Trundle and Camille, Trundle, and Skarner are also really heavy auto attackers. So
Mm.
I know that Atomic Vibe is going to want to go into the Tabi if possible, as well as Big Booby Bob. But if they do that, they're going to be really limited in how they can fight in this mid game.
It's going to be difficult for them to ever really find a leverage on this game,
Yeah.
especially because they're looking to play more towards that 3-4 item point, that
Hmm.
30-minute mark where they can then contest these fights rather than now when they don't have these ultimates. I think contesting this dragon at 5 minutes is a really bad move because you haven't got the Tristana burst online. This Nautilus isn't even level 3 yet, and Oriana pre-6 isn't a champion that has a big amount of impact.
Yeah, definitely scary for both teams here. Whilst we continue this pause just real quick as waiting for Demo to disconnect, we'll just have a quick look. Looking at the scoreboard so far, I think the big thing to note is that everybody's kind of hogtied at the moment. We are seeing 6k or 600 gold ahead for Area 69 because of their early game shenanigans. But outside of that, every lane's looking pretty linear at the moment. The only very big thing is that this Helby has picked up that tier already and has returned to mid lane.
And I do like the way that this Garlic Bread Mafia team is reacting to this early game plays is they just settled in lanes. They were like, it's okay, we'll stay in this lane state that we have because we know there's going to be a point where we can get an XP lead on one of these lanes with the fact that they're constantly doing these swaps, and that is in the bot lane. They're going to be able to push for plates, they're going to be able to get pressure whenever they want because they're going to have that level lead over the enemies.
And then, having that TP there, I mean, it did really help him out there because he was pressured out so hard. Hopefully, giving him enough lane pressure to mitigate the fact that he doesn't have a combat
Mm.
summoner. At the same time, Thunderun did end up, both top laners ended up burning that TP, but Thunderun, who looked really down bad in the early game, actually even CS, even almost even XP with Atomic Viper at the moment. So maybe not suffering as much as we thought he would have.
No, doing a lot better than we assumed, and I think a lot of that is because it was quite slow, the swap from Atomic Vipers. What I would have expected is as soon as that first blood comes out, wave is pushed in, you then start your recall. Whereas instead, what happened is because they were trying to make the cheese onto the bot lane as well, Atomic Vipers stayed an extra wave or two too long. Meanwhile, Thendorin is pushing those waves in. He's losing XP and minions constantly. I will say it is surprising to me though to see Atomic Vipers actually up in levels now with how that early game state went.
Yeah, I think it must be that way pushing in, right? I'm assuming it's just that little those five casters making the difference. Um, yeah, I'm bored of this this pause already. I want to see what happens. I love watching Camille play. I love this champion so much. So I'm kind of just hoping that they hit that mid game spike really hard and start popping off with the pick. Because
Yeah.
I remember I used to hate this matchup because Urgot can basically buffer his dash through everything.
Yeah.
So even if you hex take ultimatum at the right time, or you use your hook shot, as long as he just presses E, he doesn't really give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't care at all. I mean, I love those clips of like Poppy ultimate into Urgot just like jumping straight back
Just
to the
going to
ground and
You know,
grabbing you.
Camille can do the same thing. She can just hook shot through Poppy ulti. So long as the Poppy ultis her before the hook shot lands on terrain, she just dashes back again.
Yeah, she just flies away and then
Yeah.
pulls herself back 500 meters.
When I used to play a Camille a lot, I like the easiest way to deal with a gank is you throw the hook shot, you walk forwards, bait out the CC, and then like just go flying away from them as far as possible. The only scary point is when you play against somebody who knows how Camille works, because then
Yeah,
suddenly
they just keep running
they
at the hook
hold their
shot.
CC. Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially honestly, alcoves were the biggest buff to her because she can hook shot and walk into the out like straight up, and there's no terrain to stop her from just continuing to walk straight up, and then she'll just walk straight. She'll just dash straight
Yeah.
through the wall. I love that shit. I miss playing her to be honest, but playing top lane sometimes is a bit of
Well,
a bit of a
that's why
pain
you
sometimes.
pull out the revered mid lane Camille. I know you got it in the side pocket. I've heard
I
about
played
it.
it. The only time I played it against for like frontline in red gaming. I played against
Mm.
them and like against their D1 mid laner, and I played the MU before, and I was so
Oh
fantastic.
my god.
And it was into the Yone, and I
Yeah.
was so comfortable with this matchup. And then not only did I get completely asked like messed up, absolutely messed up. On top of that, the interaction between Camille and Yone was bugged at the time. Where if Yone tried to E through Camille ulti, it normally not meant to work. You get dragged back
Mm.
in, but it was bugged at the time, and he just ignored Camille ulti. It
Yeah.
was the most aggravating thing in existence.
I remember that game because I remember casting it and I
Oh,
remember saying I was like Oak's a big Camille player. Camille's a super good matchup for Yone because you can just pick your fights with him and he can't do the same. Like she's really good into melee matchups. She has the shield. Like I remember theory crafting it for
uh-huh,
ages because
uh-huh.
Gladius was a Yone player, and then you pick it and then the interaction doesn't work, and I'm like, well, great. Now I just look really dumb.
Yeah, no, in theory, the matchup's really good. She's also fantastic in the Yasuo as well because like deals with the dashing really well, and they can't ever aggress on you because then you get the really easy hook shot plus your passive plus the Q. Like you get to decide all the fights. That's why Camille is that's where her skill ceiling is. That's why I loved playing the champion because like baseline, she doesn't look that difficult, but utilizing your passive plus like playing around your cooldowns properly and stuff is like there's so much skill expression in that. But hey, we're back in the game. No more talking about shit top lane. We're back talking about the whole game instead. As then we're gonna pick up the 6P. We might see if that level lead was as another pause comes out. I shouldn't have said anything.
Oh, my brain, it hurts.
I'm gonna pee all over
Yeah,
my
enjoy it.
keyboard.
You actually gonna go pee?
No, I want to go fill up my water bottle, but like
Go for it, mate. I'll cover you
okay,
for a
so
minute, and then you can cover me.
nice.
Oh, we're going to be right as he leaves. We're going to be heading straight back into the game. Not really the ideal situation, unlucky circumstances, but we were speaking about this early dragon. Looks like it's not going to be opted towards by this garlic bread mafia side because they're going to opt towards full clearing from BMO. Searching for that level 6, which I do think is a valid option as well. But flash forward from Shokugeki isn't able to land that hook, and it's just a bit awkward now because you've got no CC, you've got nothing to fight with, and Ignitar's just having a great time throwing bombs back at you. And when we see the pressure that's being put out now from this bot lane, we can see that this Area 69 team is worried about it. They're scared, but a
I'm
big
back.
hook by Shokugeki. I'll play by this fight, Oak. Don't worry about this. Big Booby Bob running forward. Might get jumped down by Bard mid, but nothing really going to happen there. The root comes through. Damage is there. One will
Oh,
be the kill, but no, it won't be. It's the
oh,
the jump again, and the double kill for the bot lane.
little bit of greed coming out there from Bard mid there, stepping far too forwards and ends up getting killed down. Killed down, gets up getting picked out there and double kill going on to Serenity. This is exactly not what you wanted for this lane. We talked about the stability for this Ziggs being really important.
Oh, and we just see now BMO in this top lane, the Hextech
Huge.
ultimatum.
Yeah, gonna
Oh.
try and use his ultimate here, pick up the kill, and the fantastic uses of that Hextech ultimatum to follow through on that dash there. And Atomic Viper can't walk anywhere.
And here's a question for you that
Hmm.
I'm genuinely curious about because I've had it done to me before,
Hmm.
and it felt so bad. I believe it was on Leona. Is there a world where the correct play from Atomic Viper is to just E-flash under your own turret? Because then you pull the Camille with you.
Yeah, you can if you're cheeky with it and you know the timing, you can. But I think you probably don't have the timing there with the pick onto Shokugeki there as the unleashed power gets used to pick up the kill really quickly.
Oh, the
You're going
revenge.
straight onto Demo, and honestly, using ultimate like that to put gold on yourself is probably the best choice right now, as they are looking quite a low. As huge got sniped coming out. Looks for a fantastic pick off there with the fear beyond death. They're gonna find the trade though as the dragon gets picked up by Bimo there. Wow. Okay.
That skin is so weird. I was like, where's the Ash? Why is there an Ash arrow coming through lane? And then he just gets yoinked straight back into that
Imagine
got
this
stomach.
fucking disgusting looking man with 6 legs, like with wearing pajamas, just shoots a fucking just chain whips you inside his body. Like, what's going on
Mm.
inside there? I
It's
don't
just
think
a.
it's all cuddly bunnies and shit.
Are you sure? Maybe it's like a pool party.
Oh, that's a skin
Oh.
line, you know.
What are you?
I'm eating, I'm eating a
It's
pie.
eating.
Bimo uses the impale though, trying to get a pick off, but Helby flushes away. Same time, Big Boo Boo Bob getting caught up by the stun, but my mouth is full and I can't cast.
Oh my god, that's I really dropped you in it there. I know that feeling. It's like Oak is a play-by-play there. He's like, okay, I'll pass something on, and then he'll have a color talking point. He'll talk for like 30 seconds. I can quickly eat this, and then I'll be able to get back into it. But I just pulled it straight back to you, and you were like,
Just wanted to finish. It was a small mouthful as well. I was just cursed. Ignitar's walking forward
yeah,
really far. That
really
was
aggressive.
scary. Serenity hit 6 as well there.
Yeah,
And
but the
three
gank.
man in the bot side though, but like this gank doesn't it's probably not gonna work out. We see
No,
that
big
Impale's
boobies
already
off.
been used here and BMO's half HP, so just gonna
Mm.
waddle away there as Bard mid looks to help shut this wave out and hopefully find a reset.
A really nice cover from Big Booby Bob. If they would have went for that play, it would have been absolutely devastating. As in the mid lane, General Demo starting to get a bit of pressure in this matchup, but we're not seeing the CS lead we might have expected with this Syndra into Oriana lane.
Honestly, when I say that name, I'm completely big hook on though, gets under tower, uses that Hextech ultimatum, but just to walk away, I guess. Burning the
Vibe.
ulti, maybe a little bit in fear of possible retribution, but um as you mentioned there, Demo not really finding that CSD, but remember he did use that unleash powers that flash in the mid lane to try and get a pick off, but Demo misses the ulti.
Oh,
Exhaust use unleash power. He's so low. Demo going to find one final Q, but chunk down both mid laners, chunk down to a sliver, and Helby walks away.
oh, oh,
Ignitar with a fantastic usage of that Mega Inferno bomb to pick up the kill there. I wasn't paying attention, but good job at Ignitar
oh.
for paying attention.
I mean, that was just Kobe from downtown sends that one in. I mean, just a little bit of kind of, uh, I will say, not great hands from Helby. Might have been able to duke that one. Was just on the outskirts of it, but you can't blame that one for hitting. I mean,
The further away it is, the longer that hitbox shows. So there probably was time for him to walk away, maybe looking in shop instead of paying attention to his screen. And the kill does end up going to be for Ignitar. At least the gold's going back onto a carrier. So they're looking for damage on Serenity here, but Ignitar's completely out of mana now.
and you know what? I just when you mentioned shop, completely unrelated thing. What if they make like a champion that can
Uh-huh.
steal items from the shop?
Well, like loan them out, like steal them and then return them, or like permanently steal them.
I don't know, man. I didn't think of the idea. I just thought of whatever's
Then
happening here.
fine. Has the Hextech ultimate available? Gets chunked real low. No, doesn't have it available. So kill trade it onto both top lanes right now. And Bimo just gonna walk away.
Yeah, that's just it's really strange. But I think the 1-for-1 trade, you're absolutely
Oh,
happy with your big booby Bob. But in the bot lane,
Serenity is so low at the moment. Fantastic W there to find the knockup. Bimo having to use flash. because Kill almost found Big Booby Bob throwing out the W, flashes forward, but the shield's up and Bimo finds the kill.
Come on, you've got to know if you're Big Booby Bob that that's a bait. There's no
I
way
mean,
Skarner's sitting in front of you just for funning it with no shield.
I don't think anybody knows what Skarner does. Like I'm the only man who knows what Skarner does because I played him back in like season 5 when he got reworked. Like that's it. I'm one of
It's
three
just you.
three players.
Yeah.
Me, Bimo, and Big Booby Bob. Clearly,
Well, Big Booby Blob clearly doesn't know what Skarner does until now,
yeah,
because
it's true.
definitely
Every
got.
time you say his name, when I say it, I'm fine. When you say his name, it cracks me up. It's
Oh,
really
I
bad.
casted the other day, and then the player's name was Ride On My Nuts. Every time we had to revert to calling him Ride On, and it was
It's
just like,
it's only VL though. I don't know. Like guys, we cast like I mean, Tom's casting like 4 different leagues. I cast 3 different leagues. It's only VL where we get names like
yeah, just names that are just absolutely mental, and like you get like there's a jungler in one of the teams. I don't even want to talk
oh,
about it. It's
we
fight now
can't get
around
to
the
talk
dragon.
about it as they're fighting for this Drake here. The Cloud Drake going to be the second Drake spawning, and they're looking for the
Oh,
fight here.
TP.
We see a TP flank coming from Atomic Viper here, finding a really big flank, and the ultimate gets burned alongside with that Abyssal depth charge. Zig's ultimate Mega Inferno Bomb is huge, though, finding a little bit of damage, but they've got the target select. Bimo falling real low. At the same time, Bard Mid using that Scuttle to just get barely out. A kill trade happening here. Demo picks up 2 kills so far, but Ignitar in a little bit of trouble here. Maybe going to try and find the stun, but no, Ignitar has no spells available. People dashing forward again. Doesn't have the ultimate though, so falling real low to Demo there, but misses the W. At the same time, he's just walking forwards. He's no respect to Viper. Flashes late, but does end up avoiding that CC there. And I mean, well, kill trade 2 for 1. So
And I
in
do
the
really.
favor for Area 69.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what happens in this top lane as plates are just about to go down. So maybe gets the one plate there traded for the dragon. Not really much pressure going to come from that outside of this one neutral objective. And I do just want to comment real quick on this Kane. I think it's really intelligent to go the red Kane, to go Rast in this one, because the enemy team, their whole thing is burst. They want to one-shot you. They want to try burst you down. And Red Kane is pretty much impervious to that. You go that Gore Drinker, you build into that Sterax, you have that ultimate, and you become absolutely unkillable, especially against this Trundle Skarner, who are going to have a lot of max HP themselves, and you can just lifesteal drain off them the entire fight.
Yeah, that Conqueror working out real well for him as he evolves into that Red Cane. What's the Red Cane's name? It's
Rast.
Rast. I love that name, man. As it looks like Shogageki's going to path up, kind of look for this aggressive play into Theniden here as he plays a little bit cautious. Hook shots forward, though, and the perfect punish here. Ignite gets blown, but Atomic Viper and Shokugeki combined will barely have the damage to pick up Thunder in there. And yeah, retaliated kill. He's now 0-4.
Yeah, a little bit closer than you wanted it to be, but did manage to get that kill in the end. Hex Flash going to be used as Bard mid looking for something, but BMO's found Big Booby Bob.
Yeah, but Big Booby Bob does have that ultimate available. The Umbral Trespassers. Big combo, but General Demo misses the CC chain, so he gets the ultimate out, but falls really low. Unleashed Power used to pick up the kill, and that's a shutdown going towards Demo.
And Kane's tanky, but he ain't that tanky. That's 3 versus 1 level. You need a couple more items for that one, buddy. Is the pressure that's going to come from that is going to lead towards this Rift Herald, which I think is a really nice movement from this Scarlet Bread Mafia side.
Yeah, and Bard mid, not really able to set up the Vision there. Nobody's alongside him, so Vision going to get choked out slightly. But hopefully they can pressure for either the Scuttle and or maybe even unlock this mid tower. As a big stun is found onto Helby, getting chunked real low. Shugakeki flashes forward, single ulti, the command Shockwave found, and they pick up a kill onto Bard mid. Really weird target selection now, and what looked like a really good pick.
Yeah, strange. I mean, big brain from Helby's like, yeah, look at me, I'm open, but no ultimates available there means that the kill won't come through. And big shockwave into a lot of damage from this Triss does get something from that, but there's always that rule in League of Legends. Sometimes it's better to get your enemies low rather than kill them because it means that it gives you pressure on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. So they get the trade there. Pick off, Bard mid does get picked off, but in return they unlock that mid turret, and we know the power of tier 1 mid. as Helby gets chunked really low. At the same time, Beamo's trying to find a kill onto Atomic Viper here. Uses that smite, but the Merc Treads means he's just going to walk away for free. I mean, Ignitar, oh god, the Impale is up again as Big Booby Bob showing his face. Misses the W though, and look at Atomic Viper, he's falling so low. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes out, but whiffs completely as that Umbral Trespass is burned to Ignitar. Beamo finds the kill on Shogugeki, but Big Booby Bob, he's so big, trying to find the kill. Ignitar flashes forward. Look at that, healing. The stun misses as maybe he's looking for that. Yet no, Unleashed Power gets burnt, but he's falling so low, and the kill doesn't give him to Demo. Another shutdown again being given away, this time to Big Booby Bob.
The issue is that they're not quite sure how to play around this what's the ability called? Fear Beyond Death. Sorry, from the Ergon.
There you go.
You need to pick a target, you need to burst them down, and you need to get that ability off. Whereas there, we saw Big Booby Bob commit everything onto that Ziggs, onto Ignitar, which meant that Beamo was sitting at around a quarter HP. A bit more damage onto that. Atomic Viper's able to turn that one around. You're able to get the fear, and you absolutely can 2 versus 3 that fight, but you just need a little bit better target selection.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, it shows the prowess of the pick comp that Garlic Bread Mafia have brought in here. They play for that single target, and we're seeing, look at the cooldown on Impale right now. Barely over a minute, so he was able to use that in both fights there, get a pick on both of them, and now both Beamo and General Demo, love that rhyme, are sitting on really good score lines, and especially Demo is farming up a storm.
And General Demo looking for a play now in that top lane. This is going to be super sneaky, but I think Helby's wise to it.
You know, I was sad he wasn't doing the ultimate setup there. There's a combo you can do once you hit a certain CDR percentage where you can set up for that full damage, the 7-bull ulti. And looks like a lot of pressure coming out. Beamo looking to go forward. Command Shockwave does get used alongside with that phase rush, means Helby does get to walk away, but that should result in this tier 1 top lane tower being taken away.
It's just whether they can trade in the mid lane. I mean, Dragon is up in 20 seconds, so they're going to be able to secure that objective with this priority, but Rift Herald is going to have to be answered.
I really like this summon, to be honest. They should have summoned later so that it was close to this tower. But I mean, look, they unlocked the first turret. They should be able to unlock the second one now. So there's no response here. They're going to look for the Drake trade instead.
And this might just lead to an inhib turret as well. You've got a Ziggs. That W is going to be up soon.
He just burned it.
Yeah, no one's. Well, I mean, he's gonna.
Oh, so it's up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, but this
get out of here.
It's in range again. So all he's got to do is walk up, and that's an inhib open in exchange for a single Infernal Star. I'd say 3 towers and opening up an inhib is worth.
Really worth, and the gold that you're going to get from that you can now spend, and it's only second dragon. You're going to be able to use that lead that you're generating now to be able to push that into these next few dragons. And I will say the one thing of note that I kind of wanted to discuss a little bit, because I'm not too sure about it, is Ignitar going these 2 tank killing items, this Liandry's Anguish into that Demonic Embrace. It is a little bit strange for me, considering that you're not looking to play super long fights, you're looking to burst one target, which these 2 items are kind of counterintuitive to that.
Well, I think we can talk about it because we actually, if we look at the enemy team, we're seeing not a lot of MR being built. It's mostly HP. I mean, the Titanic Rush from Atomic Viper there, and the Kane opting to go Gordrink into Sterix Gage, so a lot of just bonus HP there. The Mercs is really the only resistances they have. And that's Liandry's and Demonic down to a T. They are much better bruiser killing items than tank killing items because the MR really just hasn't been found yet. So this is going to serve a really optimal mid-game spike in terms of dealing with that bruisers because they already have that Syndra to burst down squishies. So that's the pick they can find. So I don't mind the insurance cost being put out here. And you never know. I mean, depending on what the Ori decides to itemize into, is maybe a pick being found, exhaust burnt down, but Serenity has the jump. He's just going to walk away, and Beamo has the Impale available, but he's just not quick enough yet. Did decide to go into that Turbo Chem Tank for a little bit more mobility. But I mean, we're seeing now, I think, the pressure of the Ziggs really come into its own alongside with the Syndra, because look, they've unlocked so much standing gold at the moment. 4, 5 towers being taken so far, with really only 2 side tier 1s being taken from Area 69.
Yeah, they haven't been able to push down towards that mid turret. It's because the wave clear is so good. You've got either Syndra or Ziggs. Both of them can absolutely negate your siege in a couple of spell rotations. Most of the time, they can just clear the entire wave with 1 spell rotation, and no real objectives to play for at the moment. But Big Booby Bob looking for a fight anyway.
Oh, yeah. The Umbral Trespass does get burnt early, but he ends up, looks like he's just going to use it to walk out. And BMO doesn't want none of that, doesn't use the Impel to try and chase up because they just don't have the vision to see who else is there.
And Atomic Viper going to take away this blue buff to prevent Thunderin taking that one away. And right now we just see some sieging coming out. They've got a really good comp for this siege. They've got so much poke, they've got so much burst, and their range is much longer than that of the enemy composition. So we just see Ignitar throwing bombs out constantly. It doesn't matter if only 1 every 5 hits, because that damage is going to be absolutely huge when that bomb does hit.
Yeah, and when he places them down each time, even if he's not clearing champions, he's clearing waves. So he's going to keep that pressure up as Shokugeki, setting up some vision, trying to mitigate a little bit of that pressure on this bot turret. It's Big Booby Bob finds the knock up, but he gets caught out here. The stun's found, but BMO not in a position to use the ultimate yet, as Ikatar sets up another wave down in that bot lane.
Ignitar's going to have to find a base soon, though, burning through a lot of mana. It's 1 minute 47 before Dragon, and it pretty much now becomes the time where you want to reset to get tempo on that Drake, get those vision lines set up, and it's with these kind of compositions, the team that gets into the pit first should be winning these team fights.
Oh, Impale comes out with the flash barb mid, but the jump is available. Short jumps, though, and we do see that the Mega Inferno bomb burn on one side, a depth charge burn on the other. Maybe a pick trying to be found onto Syndra, but Demo flashes away quite rightfully as, looks like PPB Bob has his E disrupted then, return to neutral state, ultimately. But one thing I did want to talk about real quick is the fact that Ignitar is being able to pull people down to this bot lane repeatedly means if we look at our carry XP right now, they're both level lead.
Yeah, and they've found themselves in a really good situation. It started from those early swaps. Since then, Serenity hasn't been able to catch up in XP because Ignitar has just been pushing waves, constantly trying to keep this pressure up. And it means that right now, this Garlic Bread Mafia team has complete control of the map. They can make these plays because they always have tempo. They've got first push. They've got these vision lines set up from that pressure that they have through these waves. And right now we're going to see them set up for this dragon in 30 seconds, which is going to be a huge turning point for this fight.
Yeah, and Area 50, 69 looking for a pick, but they do end up picking up the spot, which is really important. BMO finding a little bit of a late reset there, and we see Area 69 definitely looking more of a unit right now with that 5-man pushing straight onto this Drake. They got the first Infernal Drake, so they're looking for the second one here to start to look for that soul point.
Okay, and the scatter of the week has been burnt, so they have a bit of
Ignitar
pressure.
in a really dangerous spot, but he does end up getting out at the same time. BMO is lined up, sees Helby, picks him out of a pile-up. Huge ulti, but the Hexam Ultimatum also is saving, gets the kill onto Ori. But look at the front line, it's melting. Bibu Bob's in the back line as well, finding big damage. At the same time, Serenity just melting everybody, and the only people left are Ignitar and Thunderin. A huge loss. But the flash out from Atomic Viper, and Serenity's looking for the pick, but doesn't matter. They had that the fear beyond death, and Thunderin also gets chunked out. Urgot picks up a double kill, but Nautilus suicides to the Ziggs bomb, so ends up being a 3 for 5. But what a fantastic fight point. Well, we thought it'd be so good for Garlic Bread Mafia, but Area 69 found a really good fight point, and they all did their roles perfectly.
It was that situation where the target selection wasn't there. Half the team, the scatter of the week had already been used. They weren't all prepped to be able to burst down Helby. So what ended up happening is BMO pulls him into a 4-man ultimate situation. It's absolutely massive. So many cooldowns get used on him, and it's like, yes, you kill the Ori, but as soon as that command shockwave and command dissonance are used, the job's already done. That's the fight won for that team, and Serenity's able to clean up. Big Booby Bob comes through, and some really nice small mechanical plays that happen there does lead into them winning the fight. But it's just right now, what Garlic Bread Mafia needs to do is they need to find a rally point. They need to go, okay, in fights, whoever Skarner ults, that person must die before that ult channel ends.
On top of that, I think BMO might need to identify that just putting the target in range is enough. You don't need to pull them close enough so they can flash ulti 4 members of your team. Just put them in a bad spot and then just sit there. That's one of the best options you can take, because alongside with dragging them into your team, you're also dragging you need to make sure you're in a position to block skill shots, be the tank asset that your team needs. Looks like the Death Touch just get burned into Ignitar, but BMO's there to position to maybe stop it as the Impel gets burnt, but Ignitar does get hit by that fear beyond death. The chains come out, but Triss doesn't care. She picks up the kill anyway, getting chunked real low. But it's just the movement from blue side is first.
And it's all from this dragon pressure that happened. Garlic Bread Mafia lost that fight, and they've sideways were pushed in, and they're having to take so long to push them back out now that it's given this mid lane play for Area 69. They've gone, okay, look, you've got all the way up to the inhib in the top lane. Bot lane, you've already taken the tier one. They've got that 30 seconds to a minute to be able to stall out and then catch those waves with this Urgot. And it means that they can just stack mid and find these plays.
Yeah, and once again, I think I had the same issue yesterday. I think I not to color too much, but the Camille goes for this damage build, the split pushing build. As looks like a little bit of trading is going to happen in this mid lane. It goes for the split pushing build, but she's not in a position to win fights. She needs to be the one skirmishing. This Ravenous is going to limit that so much. Oh, Tenderon's finding herself in a really tough spot though. Uses the hook shot, but Shigaraki should be there for the Q. Finds it. The follow-up's there. Slow gets spawned. Exec ultimatum burnt. But looks like, oh yeah, Denderon gets chunked real low, but does end up picking a kill onto Nautilus. This fight is so back and forth. Look at that ultimate, the unleashed power to pick up Serenity there. At the same time, directed cam hopefully going to work out as Big Booby Bob is chunking BMO real low. But ultimately, just a 2 for 2 there. And I think ultimately in the favor of Garlic Bread Mafia because they get a pick onto the Serenity, who had a really big shutdown.
And look at the minions now in the top lane. That wave, that inhibitor is going to start to be pushed down. The benefit is that
Oh,
there
there it is.
wasn't, yeah, and it was because no one caught that wave. And because there's no tower there, the minions are just free hitting away on that inhibitor, free pushing out. And we saw there that that was one of those points where Area 69, you didn't have anything to fight over. Yeah, this Baron's up, but look at the enemy team. It's going to take them so long to take this one that you're not really super worried about it. You've got that time to run over there, and you needed that farm onto your carries. But now we are seeing this Baron started up.
The complete vision clear as it looks like Area 69 have a general idea of what's going on, but it's getting chunked so low so quickly. Ignitar getting chunked real low though. Is Big Booby Bob going to look for both the steal? Huge at the same time. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes out, but look at Ignitar, he's so low. The Orialty misses at the same time. The Humble Trespass
Oh
comes
my
out to
God.
bring him back to full HP, and they are running away from this Baron. Serenity having a pop-off moment at the moment. Finds the jump in, gonna find another jump, but potentially the triple, flashes forward, autos the Krugs, but does end up picking the triple. And that is a huge turnaround for this comp, and this could potentially be the game.
This could be it. They've got that Baron and Big Booby Bob. Take a stand up because you are carrying this series right now. First game on the Amumu, absolutely popping off, finding every engage, finding every pick on the map. Game 2, playing that Kane, finds the big Baron still at that perfect moment. That means the team can just absolutely demolish the enemies and find themselves a 2-0 win over Garlic Bread Mafia.
Absolutely. What a fantastic performance. Not from just Big Booby Bob, but from the team in general. It seemed like as soon as mid-game hit, that synergy really kicked into place, just like it did in game 1. These team fights were so overwhelming for Garlic Bread Mafia to deal with, and that is a resounding success for Area 69. No longer disputed #1 seed as we finish up week 3 for Div 1 for Valence League.
Oh, and I just absolutely love to see it. It's so close now. The standings has been all shook up. Before we were thinking, oh, who's the strongest team? You know, Garlic Bread Mafia has been stomping everyone. Area 69 2-0 as well. Both of them looking pretty strong. We thought maybe Area 69 was going to be a bit weaker off just because of the fact that they haven't been able to clean sweep a series yet. But I think their drafting this series has been so good compared to their other ones, and it means that we can see this team with a draft that has clear win conditions
Mhm.
can be an absolute monster.
And not to move away from this game too far, but this might speak for the ladder as a whole because Garlic Bread Mafia had a really convincing win against both Ronin Rain and the Flash Abusers, whereas Eclipse Solar and Flash Abusers were a little bit closer with Area 69. So maybe we're seeing only kind of a trifecta of different powers between these teams, but also maybe Ronin Rain might be looking a little bit rough going into their future games.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna definitely be shaking in their boots as they realize that they're gonna have to play this team that's looked super strong against Garlic Bread Mafia. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of it, I think one of the players that I'm super impressed with, actually, we're gonna talk about Big Booby Bob and how
Yeah.
well he played this series, but I think Atomic Viper. You look at
Mhm.
this team and you think, oh, top lane, it might be the weak point. It might not be the lane that's going to carry through, but
Yep.
both games, first game played Mundo, absolute freaking monster of a
Mhm.
champion, 1v1ing, 1v2ing, finding these fights constantly. Game 2 as well, played into this lane swap situation that ended up being really weird. And then was able to find leads against this Camille, who
Yep.
we said was going to be a counter matchup against him.
Yeah, I think honestly, really resounding success for a man who is literally you're there for the point limit, right? And he
Mm.
started such a fantastic performance in regards to that. And on top of that, yeah, you can. I mean, we could identify the fact that Thundering in game two had some issues. Got caught out for that first blood. And in game one, the build path was really weird, but overall, fantastic result from Atomic Viper. But the real standout for this series, obviously Big Booby Bob,
Mm.
Triple B coming in huge with these two picks. And I think we mentioned the Amumu. This is the support pick, right? Moves into the
Yeah,
jungle, resounding game one success. And then looking at game two, we went, oh, Kane, what's he doing here? This is going to limit their draft so much. He doesn't care.
no.
Man walks in, he slams people to the ground, gets that red Kane, and he just came online.
Yeah, just absolutely became a monster in that game. And I think really smart of this team. It was a really interesting level one. And I think it threw off Garlic Bread Mafia and they just couldn't find their rhythm. They were finding small leads in the XP department and also some of these wave states were ended up being really good for them. But the fact that Kane got a really free early game is so important to how this game ended up going.
Yep.
If this ends up being one of those situations where Kane farms alongside Skarner, finds him in that top lane, they both fight for Scuttle and Kane loses, this game looks a whole lot different.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think the big thing was that we talked about their comp goal, right? In both drafts, how they wanted to play, and I think they played pretty resoundingly to that. Especially in game two, we saw a very basically apart from that cheese in the early game, there was a lot of play around where the players that needed to get ahead. So Big Booby Bell pushing that pressure onto the bot side, trying to get Serenity and Shokugeki ahead, and Hellby just farming up a storm. Look at that, like that KDA there, 0 kills, three deaths, 11 assists, playing the role of that supportive AP mid, playing through his team. And I think looking at the itemization from each player, everybody kind of knew their role.
And I think people kind of sleep on it, but Helby's Oriana is a pick that's going to need to start being banned every game because 100% win rate on that champ, I'm pretty sure. Not just in Valence League, but in
Yep.
other leagues as well. This guy used to play in Red Gaming, was an absolute monster on that pick there as well, and
Mm.
brings it into VL, still stomping on it. And it needs to be taken away because it doesn't matter if you've got pressure, if you can push that lead, because one big ultimate from Oriana and the game blows wide open.
Yeah, and we mentioned it in draft for game one, right? Is that okay? Well, his pool's looking kind of limited, but he pulled up the TF and did fantastically on that. So maybe he's found the team which best works around that kind of pool where they found the adaptation where it's like, okay, well, we know Helby, we know exactly what he wants to do with the team, and this is how we're going to draft him into it. And game one, the TF worked so well with the comp, and here able to get into one of his signature champions, and especially in that fight where he got picked out around that Drake. The brain state it takes to go, okay, I'm about to die. Let me flash in and four-man ulti.
Mm.
So big, turned around that fight completely. Not just because of the ulti itself, but the disruption that brings, the space that brings your team to for Big Booby Bob, especially to find that pathing in there because the team's going, oh shit, what just happened?
Yeah, they end up just scouring and they just can't find what they want to do. It's just it's constant chaos. As I think now we're gonna actually have an interview with Mr. Big Booby Bob himself.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Hello, hello.
How are you feeling after a resounding success against the what were the number one seed coming into these and coming into week three?
Well, I'm actually after hyping.
Oh, very
um,
no, brilliant. No, that's good. So we're looking at game one here.
yeah.
The Amumu came in first pick blue side. We talked about it a little bit in cast, but what gave you the idea to flex it into the jungle?
Well, because Amumu is just a great up flex, straight up.
Yep.
After the Q buffs, it's just busted in support on IMO. But he actually counterpicked himself. That's actually the only reason why I made it go to jungle.
Well, because of the Amumu versus
The Hecarim is a
the
horrible
Hecarim.
matchup for Amumu.
Wow. Okay. Cool. We're learning things today. So
Uh,
when you were looking at that matchup, was it
yeah,
like an
when I
instant
saw
like let's switch into this?
when I saw the Hecarim, I was like, okay, this is free. Give me.
Nice.
Hecarim doesn't have the
Fantastic.
early damage to kill Amumu and doesn't have the real sustain to keep up with him.
I leading on from this, we saw quite a big in terms of how you drafted this game. it's fair to say in your past few games, like the reason why you haven't had those clean 3-0s is because normally one of the games out of three, you would kind of experiment a bit more with draft. You would pick some like unconventional picks. What changed this game? Did you really just want to stomp this series 2-0? So you decided, okay, we stick to what we know. We go for these strong 5 versus 5 team comps that we're so good at and just stomp that way.
Well, we just wanted to win because we were on stream. That's actually it.
Streamer buff, let's go.
Exactly.
No, very good. So, honestly, after game one, I think you had such a fantastic performance in that
Thank
Amumu.
you.
How was your mental going into game two? And I'm assuming you were kind of expecting the Amumu to go. Did you already have other picks in mind when you were looking at draft?
Yeah, we made actually like 4 drafts for both sides. So
Nice, we
we're-
doing draft prep. Okay,
yeah, draft prep. No, we prepared like very well. And when the Amumu band came out, I was like, we have a couple of options, but I think Kane is the best one here. Presiding to the bands.
brilliant. Well, anything else, Nice Boy?
Yeah, I just want to ask about where did the idea for that level one come from? Because
Well,
that was just
Ignite top.
mental.
No, Ignite top lane is cringe. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Ah, that's
So
fair. No, I get it though, because that was in my brain, that was the punish point where it's like, well, Camille doesn't have flash, so if you find the cheese to kill a level one, then she has to like she might even have to burn TP and then she's completely summerless. Yeah, really good point to be punishing that there. And I think honestly it set her up for a really bad game. No, obviously no disrespect, but after that first kill, every time she tried to find a kill, the response was proportionate. She ended up 0-4 that game before the major fight started. So fantastic punish.
Yeah, and I have to give a shout out to a support for calling that one because it's absolutely genius.
Nice.
Shokugeki, well played. Holy shit.
So, obviously, with this being a very conclusive set of games, you're now number one in the seed
Oh.
of Division 1A. How's your mental going into the upcoming weeks, and how do you feel looking at, especially at how Division 1B is performing? How are you feeling right now?
I have no clue how I have to expect the next games. I just wait in the day itself and I like, okay, this is my day or it's not my day.
Nice. Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for spending the time with us after your set of
No
games.
problems.
Massive congratulations to your teams and
Thank
commiserations,
you.
obviously, to the enemy team. Before you leave, do you have any other shout outs you'd like to make?
Well, I have to shout out our top laner and support. Support big braining everything, while the top laner just plays weak side warrior.
Fantastic. No, well, yeah, outstanding performance. Give the shout outs to the rest of your team, and
Yeah,
yeah,
teamwork.
enjoy your evening.
Thank
So
you. You
that
too.
will be us today, guys. It's been really nice to be able to sit down with Tom with the Snow Spy and cast these set of
stop
games.
doxing
Hope.
me.
What do you mean? Oh, sorry. Oops. Oopsie.
Leaking shit. Oh god.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for viewing. Make sure to hit our socials down below and I hope to see you guys soon.